Non-stop rock talk with Tyson Bryden.
Welcome to Non-stop Rock Talk. I am your host, Tyson Bryden. Today is kind of a special episode as we are actually broadcasting in studio. So please welcome singer and songwriter Michael David Wolf. Michael, welcome, man. How's it going?
Oh, it's pretty good. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you.
It's been a while.
You live close by, which is good.
So so it was easy. Yeah,
it makes this easy. Most of the time I'm on Zoom, so it's kind of nice.
I think the last time was 2020 on the phone.
On the phone, that's crazy.
I was living in Windsor at the time. So.
Yeah, that's right. And actually, I have a funny story about that. Is that I'm going to going back to that. For those that might remember you being on the show, you said 2020. So I believe your label contacted me and we set up an interview. And like you said, you weren't living in the area at the time. Anyways, fast forward to the future. I'm playing with the Bon Jovi tribute band at a local bar, a small local bar at that, as a favor to their previous owner. So the place was packed. And as I'm trying to move through the bar, a gentleman comes up to me and says, "Hey, Tyson, I'm Michael David Wolf." And I was like, holy shit, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
So,
it was good.
And then, you've been coming out. I see you all the time, which is amazing.
For sure, man.
And you come out and support me, and as I support you too. So
here we are.
Appreciate
it. Yeah.
So,
it's Durham's got a decent live music scene, for tributes and covers and stuff.
It does.
Originals, a little bit. You've got the Atria, you got the Biltmore.
Yeah, the Atria seems to be the big place for the.
That's pretty much your local original band place,
which is good.
Yeah.
Which I think is amazing that they're kind of trying to keep that going, and unfortunately, there's not a lot of money in it.
No.
But
the Atria is such a classic dirty rock bar, though, right?
Yeah,
I love it.
Is, totally. It probably looked like that 40 years ago.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But you know what? I can probably attest to the fact that it looked like that 25 years ago.
Yeah, definitely.
When I used to go in there. So, but you have a brand new album.
I do. Yeah.
Entitled "Undeniable," which I've had to listen to, and I think it's fantastic.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Before we talk about a few of the songs, which is 11 brand new songs, which is a full-length album.
Indeed, yeah.
Which is awesome. Tell me about your vision for this project, where, how you perceived it, and then the other fine details of where you recorded it, when, how, all those important things.
Well, I wanted to make a record, like a full-length record, because I don't know. Everybody's doing singles, and it's and actually, when I did the Heavy Hopeful EP in 2020, which is the first time that we spoke.
Yeah.
I actually got a little quick review in Power Play magazine out of the UK, and
cool.
And the interview at the end of the little write up he gave me, he says, "Well, now we need to hear what he can do on a full length record." And the light went on in my head. I thought, okay, I guess I can make a record,
Yeah.
So I decided, and of course, 2020 was like COVID, right? So, I had lots of time on my hands, and I thought, okay, well, I'm going to start writing for a record. And so, and I reached out to Sean Gregory.
Yep.
Dr. Sean, lovingly known as. And I said, hey, I want to do a record. You want to help me out with co-write and produce and whatnot. And he said, yeah, man, let's do it. So we did. We started writing in March of 21.
Wow.
And over the course, of a year and a half, 2 years, we came about 40 songs.
Wow.
Yeah. Most of them I had written, and he and I, collaboratively, probably, we had about 15 songs that was written, but, he wrote the music, I wrote the lyrics and the melodies. And about 25 that I wrote the music and the lyrics and the melodies. And obviously we whittled it down to 11 tracks. 11's my favorite number, so that's why I wanted 11 tracks. And, and so, we, and Undeniable, we talked about making a record that was undeniable. Whether the genre is your cup of tea or not. When you listen to it, you'd be like, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that was sort of the premise,
Yeah, and it's it's heavier, as I had told you before. It's definitely heavier, which I love.
That was on purpose.
On purpose?
Yeah, for sure.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I liked, Heavy Hopeful is it was a good outing, and I don't know, it just sort of, I mean, I love metal, you know what I mean? Like I like all genres, but hard rock and metal dominate my library, you know. And I love progressive metal, and I wanted to make something a little heavier.
That's cool.
And so that's what we aimed for.
Yeah. Now it's looking at the cover. It's kind of elusive. It's almost a smell the glove like quality for all our Spinal Tap fans.
Sure, yeah.
I see the eyes and what appears to be a wolf. Is that a pun?
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah,
it is a wolf.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's kind of undeniable that it is a wolf, which I thought was very ironic. I thought, you know what, that's a great cover, and it's a good conversation piece.
Oh, thanks, man. That was kind of the idea, was that it's supposed to be a little mysterious.
Yeah.
But also undeniable. I mean, if you came face to face with a wolf like that, I mean, that's like, whoa,
Yeah, I love that concept. I was looking at it as I was listening to the album. I was like, this is really cool. And then Smell the Glove, of course, came into because I'm like, this is like a Spinal Tap thing. It's a Black Album cover.
Yeah.
But there's a picture in it, kind of like Metallica did on the Black Album as well.
With
There's
the snake,
that little snake on the bottom, right? Which I loved. So I guess I'm a big fan of the Black Album cover.
Yeah. No, it's a good record.
Yeah. So let's discuss some of the music. The lead-off track, which is Undeniable. Is there a meaning behind that song? I know you kind of alluded to things being undeniable as you were putting together the album.
I think it's personal, right? I mean, most of the songs are, they're, the world according to Mike kind of thing. So the idea with Undeniable is that, I mean, I'm at almost 4 decades deep, right? And I've played in one cover band in my entire career. So it's always been original music. So I kind of, I felt like, I'm undeniable. You know what I mean? Like,
that's
so,
awesome.
And that's sort of where
you kind of
just went from there. You know what I mean? And not just me. Anyone can feel. When your fire is lit and you're ready to burn.
Now, a couple of years ago, when Baz is a buddy of ours, was the jam night that he hosts. And you got up and played a couple songs. Were some of these songs, did they end up on the album?
No, actually. If any original songs that I played at the jam were just songs I've had kicking around for years that lend themselves to an acoustic guitar.
Okay.
Right?
Cool.
However, I did play Free Will.
Right.
I did play that one time before the record was released.
That's cool.
So
that's awesome. Now let's talk about Facts and Fantasies. That's an interesting one, and it's heavy, especially the drums. Before we even talk about it, who's playing drums on that?
Truthfully, they're programmed.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's
Sean
okay.
and I programmed the drums.
They sound phenomenal.
Oh,
they sound,
no,
you wouldn't know.
Sean's pretty talented when it comes to producing and whatnot, and so I mean, we worked it all out together. But as far as like the sounds and whatnot, I mean, that's Sean. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, he did a great job.
Yeah, he's and coincidentally, Sean wrote the music for Undeniable and Facts and Fantasies.
Okay.
And I wrote the lyrics and the melodies.
You wrote the lyrics. So is there? I mean, Facts and Fantasies, kind of. That's to me a saying. There. I mean, there's a lot of people that talk in facts and fantasies. Some talk in facts, some talk in fantasies. Is that kind of how you were going about that?
Yeah, and I think that, especially these days, there's a lot of like, there's a lot of gray area between what's real and what's not.
That's
what I mean? And it can be, sometimes especially like with online stuff and whenever you don't know what's fucking true or not. You know what I mean? Not really.
No,
you know what I mean? So that's basically, what it's about, right? How do we separate the facts from the fantasies from all these waking dreams?
Well, that's just it. I mean, there's so many things you talk about Facebook, for instance. I mean, you scroll down your own page and you're like, what is this crap?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like why do people even try? Like, why? I mean, unless there's people that just can't see through the crap, right?
Yeah. Well, I think, unfortunately, I think there is. I think some people just buy it all hook, line, and sinker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then there's the whole filter thing too, right? I mean, that's, where there's no fact in that. You know what I mean?
No, the whole filter.
I mean, it's sort of what that person looks like, but not really. You know.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I had Jizzy Pearl was on my show, and he writes a bunch of short story novel things, and he's got like a bunch of analogies about himself in it. And he had a segment about talking about filters, and it was a story about a woman who filtered everything online so much that it got to the point where she never left her bedroom now. Right,
because she just doesn't look like what she
right.
portrays herself.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, that's brilliant. Like, that's like taking that to the next level. But it's a truth now.
Yeah, yeah. It's like Black Mirror.
Yeah, it's scary. And then, I mean, on a previous episode not too long ago, I was talking about AI and how AI had generated. I went on to look at something on Google about myself. Like, I was looking for a podcast to share with somebody.
Right.
And all of a sudden, this big spiel came up about myself. And it was accurate. And I was like, and I said to Gwen, I was like, who wrote this? She's like, it's AI generated. I was like, yeah, but who's the AI that's generating it? Like, is someone sitting behind a keyboard writing this?
It's ones and zeros, man.
You know, it's like we're getting to this point where what is fact and fantasy?
Yeah,
right?
No, absolutely, for sure. Yeah, so, I think it's fairly poingnant. Yeah,
it totally is. Yeah. So that's great that you incorporated that in there.
Yeah. And the guitar solo on that song is played by a guy named Gregory Boyce Halls, who, interestingly enough, I mean, he and I have been friends on Facebook for like 15 years. And clearly phenomenal guitar player.
Yeah.
So, and we'd always, over the years we've talked about, we should work together sometime, blah, blah. So we finally got a chance to.
Finally got to.
Yeah. So he played the solo on Facts and Fantasies and Smoke and Mirrors.
Stand. I love the riffing on this one.
Thanks.
Who plays guitar on that
one? Me. Yeah, I wrote
That's
that
you
one.
playing?
Yeah.
Wow.
I wrote that one, yeah.
It sounds great, man.
Yeah, thank you. I spent the fall and winter of 22-23 on the West Coast.
Right.
And I was staying with my mom, who wasn't well, and she was, whatever. So I spent a lot of time writing there. I brought my laptop and my interface, and I rented a guitar from Long McQuaid, and I did a lot of writing. And I dug deep, it was, like I said, my mom wasn't doing well, and my daughter had just moved to Vancouver from Toronto, so I was also helping her get settled and whatnot, and it was just, I spent a lot of time playing guitar, just like 8-10 hours a day, and I just came up with a lot of stuff.
It's nice and tight.
A lot of
that
stuff, and and it was just. I during that period of time I was very prolific, and I came up with some stuff that might not ever have come up before. It's almost like, I don't know about you, but like for me, my guitar playing is it's kind of static for a while, and then one day all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I know how to do that now. Yeah. Like it just out of nowhere, my guitar playing takes a little leap, and that happened during that period of time for me. So
yeah, mine's kind of like it. Well, last year I went to see Nuno. I saw Extreme, and then the week after that I saw Richie Kotzen.
Yeah.
And then my guitar playing, I got home, and it wasn't like, oh, I don't want to play guitar anymore. It was more of a thing where I'm like,
how does he do that?
Yeah, it's how does he do that? Or like, I wanna just try this little, like try this, or I start writing something and I'm like, you know what, it's kind of like in the vein of that, maybe that style, but doesn't necessarily sound like that, though, either of those players, but it's kind of that inspired me to play differently. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Or to push myself a little bit more, because I mean, with guitar playing, you kind of get in a rut sometimes where you're doing the same thing.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I'll pick up a guitar and I'll play the same run 20 times over and over again instead of going, hey, maybe I should, like, I'm going to try something different today.
Yeah,
Their playing kind of did that for me. It's like, I'm going to try something a little bit different that I necessarily wouldn't do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, like, playing Bon Jovi, I play the same songs all the time.
Sure. Yeah.
But I find myself after that period, it's like I have points in the show where I can branch out a little bit and try, like a guitar solo and try something a little bit different, but I can't stray too far. But that's where that influence helped me as well.
Yeah, for sure, man. Right
So
on.
I respect that a lot, that that you're evolving as a player. And
Yeah, and I was sort of, kind of like my mindset there. I wasn't inspired by anybody in particular, but what I was trying to do was to incorporate more sort of notes into my riffs rather than just chugging riffs.
chugging riffs.
Try to just like do a little more note play with the riff and whatnot. So that was, I think that was probably the first song that, with that in mind, that came to be.
That's cool.
Was Stand, yeah.
I mean, what I noticed, I did say this, the album's heavier, but there's an evolution as well.
Sure.
In your songwriting, and you're singing differently too. There's certain stuff, there's depth in the vocals, because it doesn't all sound, you're singing differently on different songs, and
Right,
there's
yeah.
different, where sometimes you put on an album and a singer throughout the whole album sounds the same.
Yeah, they got their pocket and they just stay
have
there.
their pocket
Yeah.
and they stay there. But on this album, I've noticed that you're using it on one song that I've noted here. I mean, the register might be a little bit lower, and then you go up, which I think is a great dynamic. You're using your voice dynamically,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, right on. Thanks, man.
Which I respect a lot as well. So, do you think? I mean, obviously, even talking about your guitar playing, that that you evolved through this project.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure you're excited for the next one, because you're going to probably evolve again, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully. Yeah. 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 And and like I said, I mean, I rented a Les Paul from Long McQuaid, and I've never owned a Les Paul, so it was, that might have had a little something to do with it too, right? It was just, how it is when you get a new guitar, all of a sudden you can write new songs,
exactly.
For whatever reason. So,
yeah.
And now I'm like playing an LTD, and so which makes it different again, because it's just got,
it's
it's the Arctic metal model, right? So
that's
it's only got a bridge humbucker, EMG, no neck pickup. It's just.
Well, the
Straight
EMGs are heavy pickups
riffer,
anyways.
yeah,
I mean,
exactly,
that's the Zakk Wylde type of,
yeah,
like that.
So, and that's, again, that was, I've never had, an EMG, rigged guitar. So I was like, I kind of want that. So,
that's cool.
So yeah, so it's, again, it's all sort of like, I don't want to be like, just play straight up, heavy stuff. I like to keep it dynamic, you know what I mean? Like, I like to get radio play.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So,
Absolutely.
it's, but yeah, I definitely, keeping it in a little heavier. Like I'm rambling now, but, at that period of time too, I was listening to a lot of Tremonti.
Okay.
Right. And he is that way, right? He's got very melodic sort of radio friendly tunes, but then he's got some like killer heavy stuff, right? So.
Oh, he totally does.
And he's a monster guitar player. I mean, I'm no Tremonti.
He is a monster guitar player.
But
when you think about going back to the Creed days when they were writing hits, right? But then he goes to Alter Bridge, and totally different. And he's got a. I hate to say it, but he's got a better singer.
Yeah, and I mean, Miles is a fucking great guitar player
He's a
too,
great
right?
Guitar player. I mean,
it's quite the arsenal they've got. Yeah.
Oh no, kid! We had on one of his solo albums the other night.
Yeah,
and
his most recent one is quite good.
It was, yeah. Was that Year of the Tiger?
No, Art of Letting Go.
Art of Letting Go. Yes, okay. But anyways, yeah, I mean, Tremonti in the Creed days, he didn't really get to show what he could really do.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I always wondered, like, was he just playing at the top of his ability at that time, or was he holding back?
I think
to suit the time of
I remember watching stuff where he was at his evolution of his playing, and I think he I think he just got a lot better
Right. Yeah.
as time went on.
Sure,
And
yeah.
now
I mean,
he's just like
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Exactly.
right?
He's off the chart.
Hey, he was always a great player.
Yep.
You know, but even like his riffing is different now, and you know.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, he also had to play to what the singer did as well. You know, like they were very commercial.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, but you think of a song like "Higher," for instance, by Creed. That was a phenomenal song.
Oh yeah, no, I love Creed's a great band. I'm not afraid. You know, I like Nickelback. I like Creed.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm a
afraid to
Nickelback
admit
fan
it.
too. I
You
have
know?
no problem with Nickelback. They unfortunately get a bad rap, but it's funny that most of the people that come on my show, and it's mostly all hard rock guys, you know, rock guys.
Sure. Yeah.
Everybody seems to like Nickelback, and I have had the bass player of Nickelback on this show.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what a fantastic guy he was as a
Right,
person. He was, you know, he was amazing. So, I don't know why Nickelback gets. I have reasons why they get slagged so badly, and why a band like Creed gets, you know, but people still go to see them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So there are fans.
Yeah, they're selling like, you know, tens of millions of records. They're doing something right.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Exactly. So, getting back to the album, Jet Black Memories. Immediately, that title captured me. I love the guitar, and then the vocal with the guitar. There's kind of like a guitar underneath, and then there's another guitar part, which sounds amazing.
That's all Sean.
That's all Sean.
Yeah.
I
Actually I wrote the bridge.
Yeah.
But like when Sean, you know, sent me his demo for that song, it was just like the verse, pre-chorus, chorus. And so, you know, I was like, yeah, this is great, but we need a bridge. And so we were in the studio, and I said, well, I've been messing around with this riff. What do you think? And it was like, oh, yeah, that works. And there it was. And interestingly, I wrote those lyrics in 2018.
Wow.
And clearly it's a breakup song.
Yeah.
Honestly, those lyrics were a little too close for me. I got them out, you know, out of my head and my heart. But I was like,
I don't want to touch that.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to leave that alone for a while.
Yeah.
But I thought they were great lyrics. So when you know, Sean sent me the demo for that song, I thought, oh, this is a cool song. Oh, maybe these lyrics will fit. And lo and behold, they did, right? So
That's cool.
yeah, for
Amazing
sure.
how that happens, right?
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, that song has gotten the most sort of industry attention, if you will. Yeah.
Really? Yeah. Huh. That's cool. Awake at Night. Have you ever heard of the band Tiger Tails?
Tiger Tails?
Yeah, they're from Wales.
Tiger Tails from Wales.
Wales.
I think I have, actually. I've heard of them. I don't know their music.
Their first album featured a singer named Stevie James. They were a total glam band.
Right.
He had a quality to his voice that I kind of hear in this one, which was he almost, when he sang, it was the 80s, so when he sang, there was almost like a type of desperation in his voice,
right?
As he was singing, and you were just kind of like, "Oh, that's interesting. It's kind of cool." And then the more you listen to it, you kind of get used to it. It's like, for instance, Axl Rose. The first time I heard him, I was like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah. That's how I felt the first time I heard Jeff Tate.
Right.
And then I thought, you know, it was amazing. Yeah. I'd learned to love him, but at first I was like, "What the hell is this going on?"
It's like because your ear is not used to it.
Right, yeah.
You know, like I remember putting on Welcome to the Jungle. I bought Appetite for Destruction in 87 before they were even big. I'd seen them in a magazine in Metal Edge or Blast or something like that. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I want to check these guys out because they look cool. Because, you know, every 80s band looked cool. And if they look extremely cool, you're like, I got to have that.
You got it. Yeah, you got it.
You know, that was, everything went together. That's why those magazines were there, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Right? So everything kind of went together.
A lot of circus magazines when I was a teenager.
Pardon me?
I had a lot of circus magazines when I was a teenager.
I know, I did too.
Hit Parader.
Hit Parader, Circus, Faces.
Kerrang.
Yeah. I mean, there were so many. And as a kid, I remember like Metal Edge. I read that religiously.
Yeah.
And I couldn't wait because I lived in a small town,
right?
Not far from here, and Becker's was the local Becker's, where they would get like 2 copies in,
right? Yeah.
So I would be like, I better get there,
right? Because before the other metalhead does,
the other metalheads in town get it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I would count every 4 weeks. Oh, the new episodes, the new edition's going to be out. So I had stacks and stacks of those.
Yeah,
I mean,
right
I think most of us that grew up in those times were kind of like that, right? It was like, it wasn't just the music, it was everything else that went with the music.
Right, yeah.
Right. So, and I think back to Gwen and I playing at the pub that night, and we said, oh, we're going to do this song by Sleazebees, and you were the first guy to go.
Yeah. That's that first Sleazebees record is fucking classic.
I know.
From front to back.
It's on my turntable.
Not
right
a bad tune on it. You know?
I know. Well, the song we did's off the second one, but it's still a great song.
Yeah.
But it was it was amazing that you could be in a bar and there's always there might be one or two guys that know those
that know
bands,
that
that know that genre, right?
Yeah.
Because most people don't, and they're like, you know, and that's kind of why we do those songs, because it's for maybe that one person, and I mean it's for ourselves too. Because
absolutely,
we love the song.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, if a band, regardless of they made it famous and sold 1 million records, a good song is a good song to me.
Absolutely.
You know, and I always found that a lot of times the general music listening people would be like, well, I'm not listening to that because it's not on the radio, so it must not be good.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Right? Exactly. Yeah, whatever. You're right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't roll that way.
Yeah, no, nor do I, you know.
You know, and if that was the case in everybody, putting out an album on your own, no one would ever listen to it if we didn't have people like that.
Right,
They're like,
exactly,
I'm going to try something different. I'm going to take a listen to this.
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, online, I click on all kinds of because, all kinds of bands are promoting themselves online now.
Yeah.
With like Hype Edit and all that stuff. And I click on new music all the time. And if I like the song that I heard, I'll download the record on Apple Music or whatever. And, and then if I don't like it in the long run, I'll delete it. But you know what I mean? Like I take chances on music all the time. And, I don't want to listen to the same stuff all the time.
No, because we're not going to hear it on the radio.
Yeah, I don't even listen to the radio.
I don't either. Gwen
drives me nuts.
Gwen listens to country in the car. And
right.
I said to her, I honestly have probably not listened to a radio station in at least 5 years.
Yeah. Well, I'll take that back. I don't listen to the FM dial. Right. I listen to internet radio.
Yes.
I'll listen to like podcasts and community radio and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm talking about.
But commercial radio, no.
Commercial radio, I don't have any.
I'd rather sit in silence.
I'm the same. Yeah. I'm the same.
Yeah.
You can't play the same songs for the last 40 years and think I'm going to want to listen to them.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, I do have Sirius in my truck, so most of the time it's on Hair Nation.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I just Bluetooth my phone. I've got like 3,000 songs. So
that's all. And I mean, I have Deezer as the site I use.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of playlists and of all the 80s bands that I listen to. But Hair Nation, I do. If I'm in the States, I'll usually put that on, so I don't use data on my phone.
Right. Yeah.
And I was surprised because they've actually finally changed some of their formatting. There's songs on there that for years they played the same songs.
Yeah, like any other.
But now they've dug deep into album tracks, which is like finally right. Which is good for all us metalheads out there.
Yeah, right.
And speaking of new albums, I see you're wearing a Honeymoon Suite shirt.
Yep, Honeymoon Suite. Yeah.
They have a new album coming out.
Oh, like this year or
nice. I just got the advance of it today. Actually,
on Frontiers.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, because I have their last record that was on Frontiers.
Okay.
I can't remember what it's called, to be honest. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
But it's a decent record. There's some really good tunes on there.
I have not listened to it yet, but I mean, I'm excited to have a listen to it.
Yeah, right on.
Check it out. Hopefully, they'll release it on vinyl.
I'm sure they will.
I'm sure.
It's it's Europe, right? So
yeah, exactly. It seems like it's great that Frontiers is the label that's keeping this stuff going.
For the most part, yeah. I mean, they're definitely there's not a lot of. There's some small labels that'll sign like AOR and melodic rock and that kind of stuff, but Frontiers has got that market corner for sure.
I seem to remember Sean's band Emerald Rain.
Yep.
Was on Frontiers.
They were distributed by Frontiers. They were signed to a label called Now and Then out of the UK.
Okay,
which was distributed by Frontiers. Sort of ostensibly they were.
I'm sure I still have the live CD somewhere. which was recorded
Live
at
2K at the Dungeon.
at the Dungeon.
Yeah.
And we played our first Bon Jovi Forever show when we were
on.
One Wild Night at the Dungeon.
Yeah, right on.
Which is crazy.
Yeah,
And
Emerald Rain was a great band.
amazing.
Yeah.
Like
sure.
I had never, I don't know how I came across it, but I remember turning it on and thinking, holy cow, these guys are great.
Yeah, and it was interesting too, because Sean, I mean, all that happened in like the late '90s, which went, it was like the most uncool thing you could, the kind of, whatever, but they still had a market in Europe,
Yeah, exactly.
I don't, you know who Bob Catley is?
No.
Okay, so Magnum.
Yes, Magnum. Okay. Yep.
So yeah, Emerald Rain, toured through Europe and whatnot, opening for Bob Catley.
Oh.
So they would play their set, and then they would play again, but with Bob Catley singing, kind of thing, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, Bob. He's part of the. Is it? I can't remember. It's one of those theatrical shows. Whatever, you know what I mean?
Oh,
over
like
in Europe.
Oh, okay.
It's not the Trans-Siberian Orchestra,
But something along
those
lines.
Avantasia or something like that. Or I can't remember. I don't want to, whatever,
Yeah.
But
no, that's cool.
But anyway, yeah, no, the dude's like in his 70s and he's still killing.
He's still
it, right?
rocking out. Wow. Yeah, you know what? Us just talking about that reminded me of, talking about Frontiers and that Emerald Rain CD, and I listened to it a lot. And it phonically, it sounded amazing. Like it was a great sounding live record.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, for sure.
I'm gonna have to find it again.
There you go.
I'm gonna have to look for it. I'll be out in the shed. I have boxes of CDs in my shed because I have nowhere to put them.
I don't even have CDs anymore, man. It's terrible to say, but all my music is digital now.
Well, when I moved in with Gwen, I still had a wall of CDs, about 2,000 CDs, and she's like, "We have nowhere to put those." And I was like, oh, so they're in boxes.
Yeah.
I have some that say CDs to sell. We were going through them today. She's like, are you going to sell these? I'm like, they can just stay in the shed in the boxes for now.
Yeah.
Because I just have a hard time. I guess I have a hard time parting with music.
I hear you. Yeah, no, I hear you, man. But you know what? Honestly, I don't even own furniture, Tyson. Honestly, I don't even own furniture. So.
Well, that's all good, man. So
I'm like, why do I have all these CDs?
Sure.
Like, I'm just carting them around, and I'd buy a CD, and I would, when I was buying CDs, I would just, I would dump them onto my computer.
Yeah.
And then I put them back in the jewel case and put them in. All these brand new CDs that never even played.
Yeah.
I just ripped them and then whatever, right? And now I don't even do that. Everything's on my phone.
On your phone, I know.
Right?
And I find the phone convenient. I still buy vinyls.
Absolutely. And if I was, in a situation where, I was, settled in one spot, which I'm not. If I had furniture, I'd probably have a turntable too.
Have a turntable and some records. Anyways, getting back to the album, we were talking about Awake at Night. How do you approach a song vocally? Like, do you when the music gets sent to you? For me, I'm kind of like, I will actually, if I have a guitar part, I'll actually record it and then I'll sing a melody over top of it and start writing words. So I'm kind of curious about your process of.
Yeah, in the case of, say, Awake at Night, I wrote the music. So when I write a song where I wrote the music and the lyrics and the melodies, I don't usually write the two at the same time. I write the music, and I work, verse, chorus, bridge, whatever, the arrangement.
Yeah.
And then I listen to it as if I didn't write it, and then write the lyrics and the melodies and whatnot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Subsequently, some of the songs on the record, I can't play them and sing them at the same time. You know what I mean? There's a few that I can, but like, say something like, Smoke and Mirrors, I can't play that and sing it at the same time.
Yeah.
I guess if I really sat down and rehearsed it a lot, I probably could.
Yeah.
But whatever, you know what I mean? But, that's generally how it goes. And then say, like, in this situation, if Sean sends me a demo for a song or whatever, I'm like, I'll hum along to it, to find a melody. And then usually words just pop into my head. You know what I mean? Like, unless it's like a Jet Black Memories where I've taken it out of the archives kind of thing. But Awake at Night, those lyrics are literally the truth. I was literally laying on my mother's couch, at like 4 a.m, in the middle of the night, pardon me, no, that's not true. That one I wrote in Windsor, but it was the same thing. I was laying in bed, like staring at the ceiling, like, what's going on with my life? What am I doing? So, keep your eyes on the ceiling and ponder the possibilities,
Yeah. Do you keep notes of ideas, like on your phone, maybe?
I do.
Your notes?
Yeah. If some words occur to me and I think, oh, that's pretty good, I'll tap it out in my notes on my phone, because a lot of times, doing something else.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, Undeniable, the lyrics for Undeniable, my day job, I do lawn care. I was literally on someone's lawn, and these words popped into my head. I just stopped everything and just tapped it out of my phone and then carried on.
Before.
Right? And then at the end of the job, I texted Sean. I said, I got some lyrics. So.
And that's exciting too, like when you're like when the creative juices are flowing and you're at work and you're like, I just gotta stop. I gotta make sure I don't lose this.
Because you don't want to forget it.
You don't want to lose it because you'll never get it back.
Right, exactly.
It's like, and I find that with a guitar riff, it's like, if I don't record this, I might forget
You
it.
might forget.
Unless I'm playing it for 10 hours straight.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I totally understand that process.
And that too, for the writing process, a lot of times I have an acoustic guitar, next to me, next to my lazy boy, which isn't mine, but
next to a lazy boy.
Yeah, no, just the place where I live, it's furnished. It came furnished.
Yeah.
Anyway, and I'll just be noodling around on the guitar just to kill 10 minutes or whatever, or just nothing, not serious, not like I'm sitting down to write kind of thing. And I'll stumble onto a little riff or a phrase or whatever. I'm like, I'll record it on my phone, and then whatever, carry on with whatever else I was doing,
Yeah.
and then go back to the phone when like, oh, that's pretty good, or oh, that's crap, whatever, delete, So.
Yeah, I think a lot of us go through the same type of process. Like if you're in that mode of creativity, it's like, sometimes you're not, where you can't push it either.
Right. Yeah. I've never been able to like force myself to write a song. I have had time, like when we were writing for the record, I found it a lot more. There was some sort of impetus. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm not just sitting here noodling on guitar. I'm writing music for my upcoming record, which I found really enjoyable. Actually, I sometimes have trouble sitting and playing guitar and writing riffs. If I'm like, well, what's the point? What am I going to do with this? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to make another record anytime soon. Well, you know what I mean? Yeah. Not next month or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, so I have had times where I just kind of like denied myself to get up and walk away. And I'm just like, no, just keep playing, just keep going, and you'll stumble onto something. But I couldn't just say, today I'm going to write a song and sit down and, and write a great song, I could write a crappy song probably, but.
Well,
I could force myself to write a crappy song.
Guys that, like, I remember I had Donnie V from Enough's Enough.
Right.
He told me on their first album they had 200 songs written.
Right.
And I was like, 200 songs? And how do you break it down to 10? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, you write fearlessly and edit mercilessly.
Yeah, no kidding, right? And I bet you out of those 200, I bet you a lot of them have never seen the light
probably
of day.
Not. And a lot of them probably aren't that great, right? You know what I mean? Like
it's hard to say.
Like, no offense to those guys or anything,
exactly,
but
But that first album was it was a great album. It was very well written.
But that's how you do it. You write 200 and then take like 10
really good ones, where every song front to back, like that first Sleazebees album, for instance.
Yep.
Front to back. It's actually not the first Sleazebees album,
right? But it's the first one that we knew of in North America, right? Because they have
another album which I have with a different singer,
right? Yeah.
And there's a reason why they got a different singer.
Enough. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Like that happens a lot. Like
sure.
I don't know if you've ever heard the demos of Skid Row with the singer before Sebastian Bach.
No, I haven't. No.
And he was good, but he wasn't Sebastian Bach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's always, those are the things, and those bands get it, right? They're like, or labels are telling them like we can't sign you
Yeah,
unless
yeah.
you get.
We love the band, but the singer's got to go.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, James Labrie isn't the original singer of Dream Theater.
No,
either,
I know
right?
he's not. That's right. Yeah.
You know, Charlie Dominici was. He had an okay voice, but he was no James Labrie, right?
No,
you know what I mean.
What about Faith No More had a different singer before?
Oh, I didn't
Mike
know
Patton.
that. Yeah.
Chuck, I can't remember his last name, and it was very different.
Right. Yeah.
Very different. Like, I mean, I know that Dream Theater had released an album before James Labrie. Like, there's another
Right when
album.
Dream and Day Unite.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Charlie Dominici. Yeah.
And I will have to check that out because I've actually never heard it.
Yeah, it's a decent record. And like I say, I mean, he's got a good voice, but it's not James Labrie. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
you know.
Which is funny because I have the Winter Rose CD.
Right. Yeah.
And he's Kevin Labrie then.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Which is hilarious that he went to Dream Theater and changed his name. So
I don't know if maybe that's his middle name. I don't know.
yeah, I
Who knows,
don't know.
right?
I was like,
Yeah.
I remember when it came out and them saying, you know, this guy's from Toronto, James Labrie. I was like, that's Kevin Labrie.
Yeah.
Because they used to play him on the Power Hour.
Right.
For
Yeah.
everybody that remembers Much Music's Power
Yeah,
Hour.
absolutely.
You know, you will rot in detention before you will rock with the Power Hour. So yeah, and it's funny how those things work, right? But I'm always like, I want to find this stuff, this music, because I want to hear it. I want like what did it sound like, and why did they get a different singer, or why
Right, yeah.
you know what did it say, and then you listen to it and go, okay, I get it,
Yeah.
understand why. Like, for instance, I have an album by, do you remember the band Shotgun Messiah?
Yep.
So their first album was actually released in Sweden,
Mm-hmm.
and they were called Kingpin.
Oh, okay.
I have it downstairs, and their look is totally different. They're like fluorescent outfits,
Right. Yeah.
And like then they moved to LA, changed the name, the album was re-released. There's a few. It's the same album. There's a few little nuances in it that are
Right.
different. And then the Electric Boys as well is another band that their Funko Metal Carpet, which had all lips and hips.
Right. Yeah.
There's actually the North American version was done after the fact, and 5 new songs were put on the North American version, and the European version had 5 different songs.
Oh, okay.
That didn't make the. I have
Right.
and I hunted that down as well.
Right.
Because it's like I want to hear this. I'm kind of curious to know why.
Yeah.
You know.
Where it all
maybe-
began.
I mean, I'm kind of a music geek that
Yeah,
way,
for sure.
I guess.
Yeah.
Absolutely, right? But for me, it's like, that's kind of cool, though.
Yeah.
And to have that stuff, like, nobody would, most people probably wouldn't even know. But for me, it's kind of like that being so into the music. Right?
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah.
So, yeah, that was my geek moment for the day, everybody. So, you did allude to Smoke and Mirrors.
I did.
At first, I couldn't put my finger on what it kind of reminded me of, which I think is a good thing.
Okay,
but then,
fair enough, yeah.
then the guitar line, I was like, you know what? That has a mid-'90s Megadeth feel, almost like the Risk from the
Okay,
Risk
yeah.
album, that kind of era. That's kind of, and then this one gets heavy, which I really dig. It has a kind of a snarl to it, some attitude. What was your vision on this one?
Well, again, the verse riff was sort of that attempt to play more notes, not just riffs, And again, I mean, I just sort of stumbled onto this, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. It's got kind of one of the reviews that I got on the record, they called it a sinister guitar riff, which I thought, yeah, it's got kind of a sinister feel to it.
It is sinister.
Yeah, and then, that, and then, the chorus, yeah, I was after something like pretty heavy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like some, it's not like, drop A or anything like, like this, black metal or something, but, for heavy metal, it's got a good heavy riff to it,
Yeah, and you know what? It's funny. I mean, knowing you and talking about this aggressive metal, like, you would never know that about you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair
like
enough.
Knowing you and talking to you and seeing you all the time, and like, you know, like you listen to the music and go, wow, that's heavy and aggressive, but I think for myself, I would be the same way.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think music sometimes is a great avenue for that too, to let that part of your personality out.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think you did a great job on that.
Oh, thank you.
But the Megadeth thing, I think, to me, that's a compliment because.
Oh, absolutely.
Because
for sure.
we're talking Marty Friedman and Dave Mustaine.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
like,
yeah.
Very tight guitar players. So I mean, that's a testament of how great you're playing.
Oh,
is.
thanks, man. Yes.
So I would be proud of that.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm really proud of this record in general. I mean, it's it's the best I've done so far. You know what I mean?
So far,
which is how it should be, really. I mean, if your records subsequently aren't better than the last one, then
right.
Maybe you should not be making records and just keep writing.
Well, and that happens to a lot of bands, right? The first record's phenomenal, and then the second one is like, you're like,
I can't remember who said it, but somebody said that you got your whole life to write your first record, and about 6 months to write your second one.
Well,
if you're like on a label and they're expecting you to like churn out,
I mean, you listen to a lot of those '80s guys, and they will say they're like, we were pressured. If you listen,
just record, tour, write, record, tour, write, record.
I mean, Mike Tramp told me that. He said the first record, it's technically Pride's technically the second record, but it's first.
It's their first commercially successful. Right. Yeah,
they had a lot of time to write it. Going into the second one, he was disappointed with it because he's like, we didn't have the time.
Yeah.
Right? We just weren't given the time to write a solid record. And to me, I guess sometimes they feel like it's not even finished and it's already out there.
Right, yeah.
And then come the last album, Main Attraction, they took the time to write and work with the songs, and which I think is like the way it should be.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, no, for sure, because it's a great record, right? So, I mean, it's,
I mean, you should have that ability to be able to work with your songs and feel comfortable with how they come out, as opposed to just like a label saying, no, here's the timeline, here's the date, this is when it has to be released.
Yeah.
But we're not done. Oh, we don't care. You need to go back out on tour. Keep that money machine going.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's exactly what it is, right?
Yeah.
So Free Will. This one's heavy too, and the groove.
Yeah,
is
it's got a. It's not really. It's, I don't know. I mean, to me, it's got like that sort of. It's got like a chugging kind of riff. It's sort of like Barracuda-ish, right? And then the chorus it's all open chords. So it's more of like a classic rock, like. And speaking of Tremonti, not that song sounds anything like Tremonti, but again, listening to a lot of Tremonti, the melody in the chorus was inspired by a Tremonti song. It's not the same melody, but it's similar. Let's put it that way. You know what I mean? Like it was inspired by, that song that I kind of had it on repeat for a while. Yeah.
And lyrically, is it more or less about having free will? I mean, everybody wants free will.
And again, it was, so this is what I was talking about, 4 a.m, I'm wide awake. Like I literally was laying there on my mother's couch,
Yeah.
In Nanaimo, British Columbia, and I was like 4 a.m, wide awake, my throat is dry, I stare at the page, and that's literally how it was. I'm like writing lyrics, and I'm like, and it's just kind of like, again, like my mother, at that time, she was of ill health, and she passed away a few months later. So there was that, and I mean, if get a little personal, my mom and I, our relationship was a little tenuous over the years. We were, there was like a stretch of like 9 years where we didn't see each other, kind of thing.
Wow.
And, so it was like, like we were a little estranged, for whatever reasons, but anyhow, so there was, that was sort of on my mind, and it's kind of a heavy thing. And like I said, my daughter had just moved back to Vancouver. She was born on the West Coast, so she moved back to Vancouver, as an adult. And so, obviously that was a big change in my life, because I'm going to come back to Toronto when she's not here anymore.
Yeah.
So I was like, darkness, my old friend, it's who, right?
Yeah.
Right? Shrouded in doubt, and you blind my willing eyes, but there's no proof. So it's kind of like, that, dealing with your own sort of darkness and realizing that, hey, man, it's not, it's not like a sentence. You've got free will, right? You've got
lyrics.
Thanks, man.
Really great. Empathy. I mean, there's some deep titles on this album.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, no one's ever accused me of being shallow. So
no, that is. I mean, I've had many conversations with you, and they're always good. So I mean, we've had some very good conversations. This is almost like a thinking man's type of music.
I appreciate that.
Deep and well thought up. And on this one, I mentioned this before about your different registers. I like how you use the lower register on this one.
Yeah. It just seemed to call for that,
Yeah. Was it one of those things where, like you're trying to portray a mood within the song of how?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like a sort of a bluesy kind of heavy, I don't really like comparisons, but it's sort of Metallica-esque, right? Like 90s Metallica. And it just, again, it was just one of those things where, like, I just started playing that, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And it just went from there. And, I mean, I don't know why I matched those lyrics to those riffs specifically, but again, it was just something that's, the whole idea of, empathy and understanding what's going on with people, even without words, that kind of thing. That's basically, like in the bridge, I always known what you've desired. In the scorch of the sun, it's a skill I've acquired.
Again, great lyrics.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, man. Jeez. Like I said, it's the thinking man's type of music. Could you imagine, like, speaking of the Metallica thing, could you imagine a song like Nothing Else Matters if James Hetfield had sang the way he did on Master of Puppets?
Right, yeah.
Like, it wouldn't work.
Yeah, no, it's
like the
it's not what the song called for, right?
If he had not toned it down, and I'm sure Bob Rocket, I mean, watching a year and a half of life, watching them in the studio and him getting James to sing that way, which was totally uncharacteristic for how he did vocally. But you think of what that did for Metallica, that whole album.
Yeah, no, it changed the trajectory of their career.
Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
I mean, you look at other, like thrash bands, the Big Four or whatever, from that time period. I mean, they still kind of sound the same. Like they never really, like the Overkills and the Testaments.
Oh yeah, the Testaments.
And, you know what Exodus. I mean? And Exodus. Like those. Like, I mean, I still love Overkill. Their latest record is awesome, but it sounds
like Overkill.
Like it just sounds like what they've always done, except the production is better.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I like it, but a band like Metallica is like totally evolved, but so did Rolling Stones, so did U2, so did it's a sort of different class of musicianship, right?
And the thing with Metallica was that the real metalheads, just couldn't like grasp that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, they felt betrayed or whatever.
They felt betrayed. Yeah. But then it comes back to this: what you just said. If Metallica had stayed the same course, would they be like Overkill, Testament, and Exodus? They might be like Anthrax and Slayer, but even Anthrax, when they got John Bush, they evolved. Like, they changed a bit. And Megadeth had changed a bit, too. When you think of a song like Foreclosure of a Dream or, A Tout Le Monde. Those
sure.
Those are more prolific songs that they were kind of appealing in the same demographic as Metallica. But Metallica just got annihilated because everybody going from Injustice for All to the Black Album to Load and then to Reload, it was like,
yeah, for sure. And Justice for All to the Black Album was quite a leap.
It was, but to hear Metallica on the radio, that was a big
change.
Big change.
Yeah, because you never hear Testament on the radio. You never hear you might hear Megadeth. You might hear like Symphony of Destruction or something.
Return to Serenity on 97.7.
Oh yeah,
at one time maybe.
Yeah.
But
they might have. Hits FM was a pretty cool station for years. There was another station out of Buffalo called WRXT, think it was 98.5 or something. It's the first time I heard Dream Theater.
Okay.
And, it's, early,
Pull Me
mid
Under,
90s,
maybe?
right?
But they play Pull Me Under? Or?
And it Pull Me Under, yeah.
Pull Me Under.
But at that time, I mean, I really wasn't into the whole Seattle sound, 90s grunge,
Yeah.
like whatever. That just wasn't really my thing.
Oh, was it?
So when I heard Dream Theater in 92 or whatever it was, I was like, who is that?
Yeah.
Right? You
Yeah,
know?
because it was like kind of like Queensryche, but way above that. Like
Yeah, and again, I mean, at that time, too, Queensryche was becoming a little more commercial,
Yeah.
right? With like Empire and whatever, which
Empire.
great record, but
amazing record.
not Queen of the Reich or whatever.
No,
like,
I mean you go from Queen of the Reich, but Rage for Order was a weird album,
yeah,
but then Operation Mindcrime is
Yep.
That's
great record, but also kind of different. Well, it's a concept record, but
It's
but you can see how,
the
or at least
evolution.
I can hear how Empire came from Operation Mindcrime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just production wise and just the way. Just that, Empire is a little more commercially minded. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just like,
Empire for a heavy metal band has a very clean sound to it.
Sure.
It's very
But
clean.
again, they were on the radio and, whatever else, right? You know what I mean? I guess it just depends on what you want to do. You know what I mean?
Well,
most musicians I know that are songwriters don't wish to stay in obscurity.
no.
They'll accept it.
I mean, if
But it's not their aim.
I mean, if they're trying to make a living,
Right?
right?
So,
It's like, okay, what are we going to do to get on the radio? This is what we have to do.
yeah.
But I mean, at the same time, you have to have integrity. You're not going to go and like totally switch.
Yeah, you're not going to, yeah.
But you're gonna tone it down a little bit. We're not going to be as much Queensryche's. Like we're not going to be as much like Iron Maiden anymore. We're going to be more like, I don't know who.
Queensryche, maybe.
Like Queensryche, yeah, and have our own sound,
Right.
which was amazing. And I mean, the production helped too because Peter Collins
Absolutely.
is a genius as far as
Yep.
he's one of the great producers of the era.
For sure.
So I mean, there's a lot of variables that play into that equation to their success too, right?
Yep.
And good management, which was Q Prime, which I think it was Q Prime, which managed Metallica as well. And
Right. Yeah, that I don't. That's not
yeah,
really my
like,
realm, but
and it's a lot of that stuff that that behind the scenes that the normal listening public may not know.
sure, of course.
Right?
Yeah,
What goes into
making moves and
moves and making a band successful.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I got off topic. I'm sorry.
No, it's usual for us.
Yeah, that is true. So, I mean, we touched on about half the album, and I don't want to give it all away,
Fair enough. Yeah.
but where can the album be found to my listeners?
Um,
of interest?
Every streaming platform known to mankind. Yeah, honestly, like on DistroKid, I just clicked everything. There's streaming platforms I've never even heard of. It's
Yeah.
there.
Cool. That's awesome
Everywhere.
because you don't know who's using different
Right. Yeah, no,
platforms,
those
right?
I mean I figured, well, what's the why limit yourself, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's for the sake of a few extra bucks or whatever, whatever, just put them all out there.
Well, I mean, I switched I was using Amazon Music for years, and I switched to Deezer, which is
Right.
European based.
Right, yeah.
Because I looked at my numbers for my
For your stuff, yeah.
for the podcast, and Deezer was like one of the sites I was getting the most
Hits off, yeah.
hits off there, and I'm like, you know what?
That's my
who
guy.
That's who I'm going to support.
Yeah, for sure.
No offense to any other streaming
No, absolutely
sites,
not. No.
But I'm that kind of guy. It's like,
Yep.
you know what? You support me, and I'm going to give back
Sure,
to that,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah,
So-
I use Apple Music.
Yeah.
But I was also an iTunes user before Apple Music existed. So I was just, when I would buy a CD, I'd dump it on my laptop, I'd put it into iTunes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would buy records digitally off in iTunes and whatever. So when when the whole streaming thing became more of the way, just Apple Music was just sort of a natural progression for me because I was already familiar with
You're
that
already
format
familiar
and everything, and I like Apple Music because there's no ads. You know what I mean? It's like it's just the music. You listen to the music, you hear something you like, you download it, done.
Well, what I found funny with Deezer was that they had a lot of albums, 80s stuff, that all the other streaming sites don't have. Like, for
Right.
instance, Jet Boy, what's it called? Their second album. Amazon Music had one song off of it. They have the whole album. And
Right.
then you'll go on there and they'll have live recordings of like a Motley Crue live recording from 1982, and I was like, where did this come from? How did they have this?
Right.
So for a big 80s guy like myself, having more content
Yeah, for sure.
was what really drew me to it. Because as I
Absolutely.
started going through it, yesterday, this band is called a band called Dirty White Boy,
Okay. Yeah.
which was kind of a super group. It was the lead singer from Jafria, Earl Slick, who played with David Bowie, and then the drummer from Autograph. They did an album. And
Okay,
I was like,
yeah.
I wonder if they have it. And sure enough, it was on Deezer. And most of the time, Amazon didn't have a lot of that stuff. So,
Right. Yeah.
So for me, that's kind of my choice.
Yeah, and everybody hates Spotify, so fuck them.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Everybody hates Spotify. Apparently, they don't pay the artists very well. Anyways, Michael, I want to thank you so much for joining me this evening. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we say goodbye?
Yeah, no, I want to give a shout out to a guy named Andy Bourget. He played a lot of the lead guitar on the songs, and he and I, we've known each other for like 30 years.
Wow.
He and I were writing songs together in his bedroom at his parents' house on Vancouver Island, when I was like in my early 20s.
Wow.
And so it's very cool after all these years to have him contribute to the record, and I think he added a lot to the songs. He doesn't just rip your face off with multiple notes and whatever. He's got a little more kind of a melodic approach, you know what I mean? He can shred, but he has kind of a I don't know, it's songs like Stand or Undeniable,
he
or
plays what you need, right?
Right,
For
yeah,
the
and
song. Plays to the song.
Empathy, his solo in there it's mostly melodic, but then he just fucking tears it up at the end, and it's like he's almost like he's gonna fall off his chair or something,
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, no, I wanted to make sure that he got mentioned, because I think he did a great job, and we've been friends for a long time, and it was just very cool for me to have him on my record after all this time, because when we were writing together, there was no streaming, there was no Spotify, there was no way that two kids writing songs in their parents' basement or whatever could release a song to the world, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas now you can.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool that we got a chance to do that.
That's awesome. That's great. Okay. Well, I wish you the best of luck with the album.
Thank you, sir.
It's like I said, it's fantastic, and
I appreciate that.
I mean, I highly advise to my listeners to take a listen to it. Find it on your streaming site, because apparently it's available on every single one of them. Which
Every
is
single one of
amazing. So you're going to find it. And so hopefully we'll get to do this again.
Yeah, for sure, man.
And thanks for joining me. And it's raining in here, but we're not getting wet.
Yeah, no,
we're outside, and you might hear some raindrops in the background.
You probably heard some birds chirping in the beginning of the interview as well.
So. But that's the effect of nonstop rock talk.
That's it, man. Keeping it real.
All right, man. Have a great night.
Yeah, you too. Thanks,
Okay,
Tyson.
Thanks.